a problem on semi-infinite interval, let us say 0 to infinity. At infinity, it is very difficult to find the value. So numerically, if we see, so that's the reason it is done that at some point it is chosen, which is quite large, and then try to improve that, I mean shoot that, so that the next value for the last value will come, the next approximation and the next approximation, which is close enough to the value at the other end. If it in the form of boundary condition it is given, it's good. Otherwise, it has to be checked that whether it is close to the value at the last point. Let us say that last point is B. Then at B, the value is close enough at that particular, instead of infinity, that particular point. So basically, that shooting type of thing is done. So once we talk about this non-linear case, you will understand this word more appropriately. Most of the cases in most of the books, you will find this only non-linear case. Linear case is not at all discussed. But anyway, in Iyengar book, it is there, being the simplest one. So I will explain that first, and then I will go for the non-linear part. Now, what we do actually, I mean mechanically in this, we basically convert the boundary value problem to initial value problem, and then try to fix the boundaries, the other boundary. So means we try to match with the other boundary. So we don't take the, because we, you have the, you can find out the solution of initial value problems using your reduction thing, that is, you can reduce this to first order differential equation and then solve that initial value problem, that vector initial value problem. And then the last value, suppose y1 is there, if it comes as, for example, your something is given, suppose A is given, u1, or ub is given something like capital A, or let us see some C, capital C. Then if the value of u at the point this B matches with C up to certain extent, then you will say that, well, this will be the solution of your boundary value problem. So this is the way we'll proceed. And so let us explain the things I have already told earlier, that there are three types of boundary conditions. One is first kind. This is your called the Dirichlet boundary condition, DIRCHLET, Dirichlet boundary condition. This is your derivative type of, this is called the Newman boundary condition, NUMANN, Newman boundary condition. And this is the third kind of boundary condition. Some people call it Robin boundary condition, and it is the mixed type of boundary condition. Several names are there. So this will have both the things involved, that is the function value, that is UA, and the derivative value both. So it's a combination of both. So this is the third kind of thing, or Robin boundary condition. So these are the names, and there are certain conditions on that that I have told. It is taken from your book directly, so you can see if anything is missed, you can find out in the book also. Now let us consider first that linear case. So I'm taking this u double prime plus px u prime, px u prime. In general, basically we talk about u double prime equal to fx u, but this is a non-linear case. So temporarily we first we'll talk about your linear case, with certain boundary conditions are given, where p, q, and r are all continuous functions, so that the solution of this problem exists there, and unique as well. So under certain conditions, so the same trick is used. The general solution, what I have said, the general solution of this differential equation can be written as the general solution of the homogeneous equation, that is mu1 u1x, mu2 u2x. U1, u2 are the solution of two linearly independent solutions of your homogeneous differential equation, that is your minus u double prime plus px u prime plus qx u equal to 0, and u naught x is a particular solution, means u naught x satisfies that minus u double prime plus px u prime plus qx u equal to rx, right? Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Okay. So it is written that u naught is a particular solution, u1 and u2 are two linearly independent solutions of the corresponding homogeneous differential equation, which is explained. I have already explained that. So this is what is written in the differential equation form, that u naught will satisfy that particular solution, means minus u naught double prime plus px u naught prime plus qx u naught equal to rx, and then for u1 and u2 it satisfies the homogeneous differential equation. Let us take the first type of boundary condition. How we tackle that? Keep that in mind. U1 and U2 are two linearly independent solution of homogeneous differential equation. So let us take that this boundary condition of first kind, UA equal to some value, let us say it is gamma 1, UB, the other end the value is given as gamma 2. Let us assume further that gamma 1 is not 0. If it is 0, how we will tackle? That will be the next case. Now, so we choose u naught equal to A, u1 equal to A, u naught A equal to gamma 1, u1 A equal to gamma 1, u2 A equal to your gamma 1. Now, u naught there is no trouble. Instead of considering the other end boundary condition, we'll consider the initial value problem at the same point, that is your A. So let us write u naught prime A equal to 0. This is not going to create much trouble. This will get adjusted. The only trouble is that with your u1 and u2, because u1 and u2 are the two linearly independent solutions. So I am taking u1 prime A equal to 1, u2 prime A equal to 0. Right?
So why we are taking that?
This is the question I wanted from you people, right? So why we are taking this 1 and 0, right? We can take 0 here or 1 here also. The only thing we have to be careful about, u naught we are not much bothered about. Once we write the combined solution, whatever we write here, that will get compensated there. There is no trouble. But for u1 and u2, we have to be careful in the sense that we choose the boundary initial conditions in such a way that this vector, for example, here for u1 it will be gamma 1 1. For u2, it will be gamma 1 0. These two vectors, if I say in that sense, they should be linearly independent. I could have chosen why I have written here 0. I could have taken 1. Not 1. If I would have taken, suppose 10, 15, 150, whatever we want. But then gamma 1 1, gamma 1 150 will not be, if you take these two vectors, gamma 1 and then your 1 and gamma 1 and 150, let us say. These two vectors are not linearly independent. If at this point they are not linearly independent, how can we claim that u1 and u2 will be the linearly independent solution? So that will be violated here. Is that right?
Okay, sir.
Now, no, it is still not complete. So we have to choose u1a and u1 prime a with your u2 and u2 prime a, this set in such a way that, let us say, the vector u1a, u1 prime a, and the another vector u2a and u2 prime a. These two vectors should be linearly independent. Right? It does not matter whether we write here. You see, you have already seen that this 1 0 0 1 is the minimum form for your the two two component vectors, they are linearly independent. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Now here it is already gamma 1, which is a non-zero constant. So we may think of this as a multiple of 1. So gamma 1 1 and then gamma 1 0. Two vectors are, these two vectors are linearly independent. Is that right or not?
Yes, sir.
Can you get gamma 1 1 from gamma 1 0? No, you cannot get that by multiplying a constant term, non-zero constant. Is that right? But if I write here 150, you can get that.
Yes,
Is
sir.
that right? Right? So that's the reason we may take this 0 here also. Does not matter, means we can take u1 prime a equal to 0 and u2 prime equal to 1. There is no difference at all. Finally, it will get adjusted. The only thing we have to be careful in choosing these two vectors in one sense means u1a, u1 prime a, u2a, u2 prime a in such a way that it should not violate the condition that u1 and u2 are linearly independent solutions. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
That is the only thing you have to be careful. Less other things you can choose according to your own choice. There is no trouble. Right? Now, once it is chosen, then basically we have to solve three initial value problems. U0, with U0, the differential equation, non-homogeneous differential equation with the boundary condition as what we have chosen just now, that U0 A is gamma 1 and U0 prime A equal to 0. And for your U1 A equal to gamma 1 and U1 prime equal to 1. And the third one similarly. Right? That U2 double prime plus Px U2 prime plus Qx U2 equal to 0, and with the boundary condition we have chosen. So basically, we have to solve these three differential initial value problems to get the values. These solutions U0, U1, and U2, right? And once we do that, we have to get the, you see, you have started with the boundary value problem, which is given as your u1 equal to gamma 1 and u2 equal to u equal to gamma 1 and ub equal to your gamma 2. At the other end, it's a boundary value problem. You have converted this into initial value problems, three initial value problems of this type. And once you get the initial value problems, these initial value problems, somehow you have to match at the point B such that it should satisfy that your ub equal to your gamma 2. So with that, we'll see that what we are getting. So that ux will be written as u0. This is general solution, the solution of that non-homogeneous differential equation. So that will be written as u0x, the particular solution, plus mu1 into u1x plus mu2 into u2x. Now at x equal to a, ua equal to gamma 1, right? This is the boundary condition given there. So ua equal to gamma 1, but ua will be your u0 a plus mu1 u1 a plus mu2 u2 a, right? So you get, you have already chosen these values. U0 a is your gamma 1, u1 a equal to gamma 1, u2 a equal to gamma 1. So putting all these values, we see one equation will get in your mu1 and mu2. So mu1 plus mu2 equal to 0. So there are two variables which you have introduced, mu1 and mu2. So these two constants you have to find out. So how will you get? You see, with the other boundary condition. Other boundary condition given as ub equal to gamma 2. Now, ub means your u naught b plus mu1 u1b plus mu2 u2b. So the ub equal to gamma 2, which equal to your u naught b plus mu1 u1b plus mu2 u2b. But from here, from first part, you have already seen that mu1 plus mu2 equal to 0 means mu1 equal to minus mu2. So put that and you get your mu2. So mu1 equal to minus mu2, and mu2 can be written in terms of gamma 2 minus u naught b divided by u2b minus u1b, provided this should not be equal to 0. u naught b minus u1b should not be equal to 0, otherwise it will not be defined. Means your these two values u2b and u1b should not be same. Is that right? Is that
Yes.
right? See, that condition is coming here, which you have already seen there. Otherwise, there will be a trouble. Right? So this way you will get the value. Once you get the, you see all the values on the right hand side is a known quantity. Once you solve those initial value problems, then u naught b is available, u1 u2b is available, u1b is available. Gamma 2 is given, so everything is available on the right hand side. So mu2 is known. Once mu2 is known, mu1 is also known. As soon as mu1 and mu2 both are known, immediately your general solution is known. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Certain things you will understand once I will demonstrate through one example. Then it will be very clear.
Yes, sir.
Okay, let me discuss this case also, then I will go for the example. If in the earlier case we have seen that we have chosen that gamma 1 is not equal to 0, but it may be 0. So let us take this case, how we will handle. If gamma 1 is 0, then we can choose u naught. There is no trouble. U naught is 0, u naught prime is also 0, and then u1. You see here we have. That's the reason I have put the lines here. u1a is 1, u1 prime a I have chosen as 0, but u2a and u2 prime a I have chosen such that this vector with this and these two vectors are linearly independent. You may choose this here, means u1 a equal to 0 and u1 prime a equal to 1, and the u2 a equal to 1 and u2 prime a equal to 0. There is no trouble at all. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
So this is the only reason why why we are choosing this. This is the only reason that they are linearly independent. If we will not choose this, means at this point they are not linearly independent. Right? Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So this is the only thing which we have to be careful. Now, so we have got three initial value problems which I have already explained, that in u naught, in u1, in u2. So we'll solve this. We'll find the values at the end point, that is ub. So means u naught b, u1b, and u2b. So these 3 points has to be we have to find out using some initial value method. So after that you can see exactly the similar way, that ux is written as u naught plus mu1 u1x plus mu2 u2x, but at a ua is 0 because gamma 1 we have chosen as 0. So ua is 0, ub is gamma 2. So these two conditions will provide the mu1 and mu2. So ua equal to 0 at x equal to a, ua is 0 gives that u naught a plus mu1 u1a plus mu2 u2a. Put all the values which you have chosen, then accordingly we will get mu1 equal to 0. And then once we get mu1 equal to 0, so at b, ub equal to gamma 2. So this is your u naught b plus mu1 u1b, but mu1 is 0, so this term will not appear. So mu2 u2b. So basically we get mu2 as gamma 2 minus your u naught b divided by u2b, provided u2b not equal to 0. We cannot choose that, we cannot have this ub should be equal to 0. Otherwise, that it will violate the certain other things. I mean, that is the theoretical part. I'm not going to explain that part. Basically, existence uniqueness trouble will be there in that case. Now, so this way you get the mu1 value and mu2 value, right? So let us see one example for this case. And then I will come back for the second type of boundary condition and third type of boundary. This is your u2 double prime equal to u plus 1 linear case. The non-homogeneous part as 1. And then the boundary conditions are given as u0 is 0, u1 equal to e minus 1, means exponential 1 minus 1. Is that right? So we have to consider three differential equations, rather three initial value problems. U naught double prime equal to u naught plus 1, u1 double prime equal to u1, u2 double prime equal to u2. These two corresponds to your homogeneous one. And then the initial, since here it is 0, so u naught 0 is 0, u naught prime 0 is 0. This is what we have chosen. And then u1 and u2 at 0, or rather we say that u1 0 and u1 prime 0, this vector, and u2 0 and u2 prime 0, these two vectors should be linearly independent. So as we have chosen earlier, you can choose the other way around. So u1 0 is 1, u1 prime 0 is 0, u2 0 is 0, and u2 it should be u2. U2. It is you please note down this. In equation 5, it should be u2 prime 0 is 1. Right? Note down this correction.
Yes, sir.
It is here u2 prime 0 is 1. But there is one thing before I forget that. There will be one more test in this month. It will be hopefully 25th, 18th or 25th. It will be on 18th, that is again Thursday, or 25th. The coordinator will inform you regarding that. So please note down that.
Okay, sir.
Everybody. So, so that you can prepare, you can start preparing the things. You should not face any trouble. Okay. Now, first, what will you do? First, we'll convert this into system of first order differential equations. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So first we'll do the first one. This equation 3 into the system of first order. So let us take that y naught as u naught, z naught as u naught prime. This is the way we have done, right? So y naught prime will be u naught prime. U naught prime is nothing but your z naught. So y naught prime is your z naught. This will be the first one. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
And then z naught prime equal to u naught double prime. But u naught double prime is your u naught plus 1. So z naught prime equal to u naught double prime, which is your u naught plus 1. So basically u naught is your y naught, which we have chosen. So z naught prime will be y naught plus 1. So these two equations of first order, it is reduced. So we can write y naught z naught prime equals the z naught and then 1 plus y naught. With the initial condition, that will be your y naught 0 is 0, z naught 0 is 0. Right? Is this clear?
Yes, sir.
So first, that particular solution differential equation we have converted into first order vector equation, system of equations, right? Now, similarly, we can write the second equation will be what? Second equation will be that 1 will not be there. What will be the second equation? U1 double prime equal to U1 because it is solution of homogeneous one. U2 double prime equal to U2 means this plus 1 whatever is there, that is the only difference between these two. So we can directly write the other two first order differential equations. That is your instead of y0 z0, it will be y1 z1 prime, where y1 is your u1, z1 is equal to your u1 prime equal to y1 and z1. Let us check y2 and z2. Is there any difference? What will be that? Let us see. Let's do it. Let us check. This is y1 equal to y1 equal to u1, and then y2 z1 equal to your u1 prime. So y1 prime equal to your u1 prime, and u1 prime is your z1. So this should be z1. Here it is wrongly written. It should be z1 and y1. It's a reverse way. Y1 z1 y1. Please do correct it. Y1 z1 prime equal to z1 and y1. Right? Did you do that?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So y1 prime, because we have chosen y1 equal to u1. So y1 prime will be u1 prime, but u1 prime is z1. So y1 prime is your z1. Here it is not correct one. It should be z1.
Yes, sir.
Right? And second one should be y1.
Yes, sir.
Right? Similarly here also, y2 z2 prime equals z2 y2, not y2 z2. Is that
Yes,
right?
sir. Yes.
But boundary condition will be there. That y10 z10 is your 10, and y20 z20 is 01. That is correct. That initial condition. It is correct. So make this correction. Okay. So note
Yes,
down
sir.
this correction. This is taken from your book. So if anything is there, you can verify. Anyway, that is already, we have already seen here. Now, let us apply that Euler-Cauchy method to all the problems, to all the three initial value problems. What is Euler-Cauchy? Un plus 1 equal to u1 plus 1 by 2 of k1 plus k2. K1 is your h times fxn un. K2 is your h times fxn plus h un plus k1. Right? This is your Euler-Cauchy method.
Yes, sir.
Yes. You should be very careful now how it is applied. See, so we have got y0 prime equal to z0. Z0 prime, the very first equation, that is for your non-particular solution. Z0 prime equal to 1 plus y0. With the initial conditions, y0 0 is 0, z0 0 is 0. Right? So basically, we see this form is y0 prime equal to f x y0 z0 in general. Z0 prime, the general form of this. Z0 prime equal to g of x y0 z0. Right? So here you see, if you remember that once I have talked about that Runge-Kutta type of methods to system of equations, you have to calculate K1, then L1, then K2, then L2. Do you remember that?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so the similar thing have to be done here also. So I have written that K1 is h times f of xn y0n z0n. L1 is your h times g of xn, y0n and g0n. What is g and f? F is your z0, g is your 1 plus y0. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Then now you can get your K1. K1 is only, let me put up. So F is your Z0 only. So K1 will be H times Z0 N, and L1 will be H times 1 plus Y0 N, right? Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Similarly, you have to find out K2. Wherever x is there, x will be replaced by xn plus h. If x is there, y is there, it should be replaced by y0 plus k1. And then if z is there, z0 n plus l1. But it is only z part, so it will be h times z0 n plus l1. Right? Put the value of l1 from here. So your k2 is in terms of your Z0 and Y0, Z0 N and Y0 N. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Now you have to calculate L2. L2 is, I think, only Y. What is that? L2 is 1 plus Y0, right? So, I mean, G is 1 plus Y0. So, then your L2 will be H times Xn plus H, Y0 N plus K1, Z0 N plus L1, and it is your 1 plus Y0. So only one H into 1 plus this part will be there. 1 plus Y0 plus K1. Y0 is replaced by Y0 plus Y0 N plus K1. So only that 1 plus Y0 is replaced by Y0 N plus K1. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Now put the value of K1 from here. H Z naught N. So I have put the value of K1, that is H Z naught N. So we have got your the two formula for your first one, that is your Y naught N plus 1 in terms of Y naught N, Z naught N, and your Z naught N plus 1 in terms of your Z naught N, Y naught N, right? So finally, I'm not going to discuss the complete detail. So directly we'll have these two 9 and 10. So once we put your, so Y naught N plus 1 can be written as 1 plus H square by 2. The coefficient of this is your Y naught N, the coefficient of Z naught N, and then constant term H square by 2. And similarly, your Z naught N plus 1 is your H times Y naught N, and then 1 plus H square by 2 Z naught N and H. This H and this H square by 2 is coming because of that term. Keep that in mind. That non-homogeneous part. So basically, we may write this 9 and 10 in the matrix form as well. So Y naught N plus 1, because the coefficients are basically just dependent on H, so there won't be any trouble. H is decided beforehand. So it is Y naught N plus 1, Z naught N plus 1 is 1 plus H by 2, Y naught N. So that's the reason it is written this way, H times Z naught N, and then H into H into your Y naught N, you see H into Y naught N, and 1 plus H square by 2, here it is 1 plus H square by 2, here where it is 1 plus H square by 2, Z naught N, so it is Z naught N, and then plus H, so this term is there. So basically you have written in terms of your this matrix form, and then this BH will be fixed. Once H is fixed, BH will be fixed, so just put the value of your Y naught N, Z naught N, and you can get the values of next values of that Y naughts. Is that Y naughts and Z naughts, right?
Yes, sir.
Is that right? Now, a bit tedious work is there. This with this similarity, obviously. Now, similarly, you see, I have already explained that part. The extra term which is coming without your Y naught or Z naught coefficient is coming because of the non-homogeneous part. This term is coming just because of non-homogeneous part. So for other two initial values problem, which are homogeneous differential equation. Is that right? Is that right?
Yes, sir.
So this term will not be there. Or you can do it. You can check whether it is coming without this term or not, at least one, right? So this term will not be there. The only thing is that instead of z0 and y0 and z0, it will be y1 n plus 1, z1 n plus 1. The same bh is there, y1n, z1n, and similarly your y2n and z2n is the same bh. Everything is same. The only thing, these conditions will be different. Here it is y0 n is y00 is 0 and z00 is also 0, but here y10 is 1, z10 is 0, y20 is 0 and z20 is 1, right?
So that is same beta h, no?
Which one?
In y1 z1 and y2 z2.
Y1 and y2. No. Y1 and y2, these two correspond with what? U1 and U2.
Yes, sir.
So they have to be linearly independent. 1 0 0 1. You see 1 0 0 1.
No, sir, that beta h term that in the
BS.
yes,
BS.
sir.
This will
Yes.
be same. You can verify this.
For y2 z2 also.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, sir.
You see, you just go back. I'm just showing it. Why it is written directly. These three systems you have got 6, 7, and 8. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Now, you see, what is the difference? Difference of this non-homogeneous part, 1 plus y0. Actually, here it was wrongly written. It is your z1 and here it is y1. Right? That I have already explained. Right?
Yes, sir.
So this 1 is not there. Non-homogeneous term, which is 1 here, is not there for the homogeneous one.
Yes, sir.
Similarly, for this one also, it is your z2 and y2.
Yes, sir.
That is the only difference. Boundary initial condition, you see 1 0 0 1.
Yes,
Right?
sir.
And here for z0 it is 0 0. Because we have chosen u0 a is 0, u0 prime a is also 0.
Yes, sir.
Right? Now it is clear.
Yes, sir.
If it is not, you just do yourself. Verify whether it is coming the same thing what I have written or not. At least one should do once. After that, one can understand that that non-homogeneous part is removed, so only this part will be there. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
So
But
everything is same. Everything is same except for non-homogeneous term is added in the particular solution part.
yes, sir.
Is that right? Is this clear now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Next thing, we have to solve up to the last value. We have to solve up to the last value. Now here at this moment, I will choose h. H is 1 by 4, that is 0.25. So 0, 0.25, 0.50, 0.75, and 1.0. At this point, at 1, we require the value. We require the values of all the variables. Y u0 means u0, u0 prime, meaning by that your y0, z0, and then y1 at the point x equal to 1, z1 at the point of x equal to 1, and their derivatives value, right? So now we'll see. You have to be a bit patient, so that you can understand. Because the calculations are quite tedious. For non-linear, you will see even more tedious things are there. So it is 0.25 value, which you can get directly by y1 n equal to 0. That will be your 0.2 y01, and that is the value at 0.25. And here y00, that value is already given. Z00, it is given as to be 0. This is 0, this is 0, only these two values will be there. You just see that 0.03125 and 0.25. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Now next value, you put this value 0 and then 1. You will get this 02 and then Z02 by putting Y01, Z01 value. These two values. So you get Y02 means U0 at 0.5 and Z02 means U prime at 0.5, right? Next you will get U03, that is your U0 0.75, Z03 means your U0 prime 0.75 value, right? And next you will get Y04, that is your U0 1.0 and Z04, that is your U0 prime 10. At x equal to 1, right?
Yes, sir.
Is this part clear?
Yes, sir.
If you up to this it is clear, the same thing you have to do for the next two problems. That is your the two homogeneous differential equations or the first order differential equation. So for y1 n equal to 0, y11 will be calculated through y10, right? And then y10 is your I think it is 10, or what is that I have to say? 10, I think. So accordingly, yeah, y10 is 1, z10 is 0, so it is 1 and 0. So multiply this, you can immediately see this value will be there and this value will be there. Then you calculate this value till you get y14, that is your u1 1.0, and z14, that will be your u1 prime 1.0, right?
Yes, sir.
Next you have to solve the third initial value problem, and again you have to get that again you will find out the value at 1, means you will get that u21 z21. My voice is going, you are able to hear?
Yes, sir.
Okay, u22 z22 and like that u24 and z24, means you will get the u2 1.0 and then u2 prime 1.0, these values. So all the values are available now at 1 at the other end. Is that right?
Yes. Yes, sir.
Okay, with that now you can write the general solution. So you have that ux is your u0 x, that particular solution, plus mu1 u1x plus mu2 u2x, right? And the boundary conditions are given as u0 is 0 of the original problem and u1 equal to e minus 1, right? So u0 equal to 0 means what? u0 0 plus mu1 u1 0 plus mu2 u2 0 is your 0. So this gives your mu1 equal to 0.
Yes,
Is that
sir.
right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Next we'll put at the other end. Other end, u0 1, what is that value? u1 equal to e minus 1. So u1 equal to e minus 1 equal to u0 1 plus mu1 u1 1 plus mu2 u2 1, right? So this is mu1 is 0, so this term will not appear. So u0 1 plus mu2 u2 1. Put the value of mu2 u2 1. u2 1 is available to you. Just before that we have calculated that. Here it is u2 1 value is there, right?
Yes, sir.
So mu2 from here will be your e minus 1 minus u0 1 divided by u2 1. Put the value u0 1 is also available, u2 1 is also available. So mu2 value is 1.02017, and then mu1 is 0. So basically the general solution will be ux equal to u0 x plus 1.02 that mu2 value into u2 x. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
So everything is now known to you. So you can get all the values. So at x naught, that is your x1, it will be your 0.25. So at 0.25, u naught 0.25 value plus this into u2 0.25 value, the total will come like this. Then at 0.50, it will be u naught 0.50, that is also available to you. u2 0.50, this is also available to you. Put these two values, you will get the u 0.5, and then similarly 0.75 and 1.0. Is that right?
Yes.
E value is what? 2.78, 7182828 like that. So E minus 1 will be your, because the other boundary condition is your U1 equal to E minus 1. So that is your 1.7182828 repeated one. So that's the reason it is coming at the point 1. The value is getting matched with that. So if we summarize the whole thing, so what we have done? If we summarize the whole thing, what we have done? We have converted our boundary value problem to the initial value problem, and since it's a linear one, so the solutions are broken into two parts, basically three parts. The two linearly independent solutions of the homogeneous equation, sum, and then plus particular solution. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
And then initial value problems were solved, and then the other boundary condition is forced to satisfy, and then we get the two values of your mu1, mu2, right? So that it solves the given boundary value problem. Is that right?
So, sir, if this problem will come in exam, then whole time will go in this.
That is a different thing. First you understand, and then you have to practice it. If it comes in the exam, you will be given enough time to do that. Don't worry. Right?
Yes, sir.
Exam is a different thing. Exam is entirely different. Exam has nothing to do with learning. Right?
Yes.
The
Yes,
point is that whether you understand the things or not. So the exam is for that whether you have understood the whole thing or not.
yes, sir.
And then without doing any mistake, you see, it's a numerical analysis. If you do anywhere a very small mistake, that error will be propagated. If you have done in the beginning, that error will be propagated throughout your end, and then what will happen, that you will not get the solution. Right?
Yes, sir.
So basically it involves two things. One, science, and another thing is art of doing the correct calculations. Right?
Yes, sir.
So your mind, you must have the knowledge, plus your mind should be concentrated enough so that you can do the things with full concentration. Because if you do a single mistake, things will be reversed. Right?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So I think you take a break of 5 minutes, 2-3 minutes, and then I will come. I will again start the thing. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Because I have to explain the other two types of boundary condition. I'm not going to do the problem for that, and maybe a bit of non-linear part also I will start today, but I will not tell you this. I will not demonstrate the problem. I will demonstrate on the other some other day. Otherwise, you won't be able to understand that.
Okay,
Okay.
sir.
So it is time is your 55, 4:55. So at 5 again we'll meet. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So take a rest for 5 minutes. Okay, shall I start now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, if we have the second boundary condition, that is your Newman type of thing, that is u prime a equal to gamma 1, u prime b equal to your gamma 2, then how will, and let us assume that again here that gamma 1 is not equal to 0, and the other case when gamma 1 equal to 0. Exactly the similar way will move. The only difference is that here u prime is given, so u naught prime a equal to u1 prime a equal to u2 prime a equal to gamma 1. There we have that u naught a, u naught u1 a, u2 a equal to gamma 1. If gamma 1 not equal to 0. And the other u naught, there is no trouble, you can put anything u naught a equal to 0. And then u1 a, if I put here 1, then u2 a we have to put 0. Is that right? Or
Yes,
vice
sir.
versa, that u1 a is 0 and u2 a equal to 1. Whichever we prefer does not matter at all. So that u1 and u2 are linearly, that linear independence condition should not be violated. Right?
Yes, sir.
Then again we have to solve the three initial value problems. That is your for non-homogeneous one, that is particular solution, that u naught minus u naught double prime plus px u naught prime plus qx u naught equal to rx, and then by initial conditions u naught a is 0, what we have assumed, u naught prime a equal to gamma 1. Similarly the second one, that is for homogeneous, third one for the homogeneous, and the initial conditions are there. Write all the three in equivalent system of first order differential equations, and then apply the method and solve it, right?
Yes, sir.
And then again in the end you have to find out the value of mu1 mu2, which are the coefficients of the two linearly independent solutions, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So if gamma 1 is 0, then also you know how to do that. If gamma 1 is 0, that is the second case. So if gamma 1 is 0, then how to proceed? If gamma 1 is 0, then u naught a is 0, u naught prime a is 0, and u1 a, u1 prime a, this vector, and u2 a and u2 prime a, this vector will choose in such a way that if we choose here 1 0, it should be 0 1, or if we choose here 0 1, it should be 1 0, right?
Yes, sir.
And again follow the same thing, write down ux as u naught x plus u1 x and plus u2 x, mu2 u2 x, find out the value of mu1 mu2 using these conditions, right?
Yes, sir.
Exactly the same way. Now third one is, if your third kind of, that is mixed type of boundary condition is there, that is even easier, in the sense that here both none of them are explicitly given either ua or u prime a, so we can choose anything. So I am choosing that u naught a is 0, u naught prime a is 0, but u1 u naught prime a, sorry, it should be u1 prime a, so this also should be corrected. This is u1 a and u1 prime a, it should be, and u2 a and u2 prime a, these two sets should be chosen in such a way that they are linearly independent. If you choose 1 0 here, then 0 1 here, or you may choose 0 1 here and 1 0. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Now if you choose that, then you can find out the other one. You can find out, once it's chosen, the other one you can find out without any trouble. So now find out the general solution. Write down general solution as ux as this. it is mu1, mu2, and then solve all the three initial value problems, and then put the values, and then you get the value of mu1, mu2. Your solution is known. Is that right? Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So you have to do it. Then only things will be clear. Right? Whatever I have explained, even for this very first boundary condition, that also you have to do yourself. Write down the problem. Everything is there with you. The only thing you do, you solve the whole thing yourself and see where you are getting trouble. Right? And then you see that after calculating the things, you have to verify whether the calculations are correct or not. Right?
Sir,
Right?
an example on the third mixed boundary condition.
Tell me.
So is there any example of mixed boundary condition?
Is there any?
Example.
Yeah, there are several. I think I don't remember exactly, but there may be some example in the book also. I will check it, but not the solved one. Not the solved one. No,
Okay,
what is
sir.
your problem? What is your problem?
Like sir, if in this mixed value thing, like we are assuming like u1 u1 prime, u2 and u2 prime,
Right.
and we are just putting into the boundary condition.
You see,
So
once you have chosen this, once you have chosen these conditions, right?
Yes, sir.
Hello. Then you have to solve first set of initial condition. Initial value problem will be u naught double prime, means that non-homogeneous one, equal to Rx, with the initial conditions u naught equal to a, u naught prime a equal to 0, right?
Yes, sir.
Second set will be homogeneous one with your u1 a equal to 1, u naught a equal to u naught prime a equal to 0. Third set, homogeneous one with your u2 a equal to 0, u2 prime a equal to 1, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, up to this you have done. Then you have you will convert this into system of differential equations.
Yes, sir.
Then you will solve that. You have partitioned your interval. Let us say just like the previous one, 0 to 1. Suppose h is 0.25. You have 0.25, 0.50, and then 0.75, and then 1.0. Right?
Yes, sir.
Now you have that ux. Suppose ua is given. This first boundary condition is given, and second boundary condition is given.
Yes, sir.
Right? So what you have done there for the first case, which I have just demonstrated, there it was given u a equal to something gamma 1 and u b equal to something gamma 2.
Yes, sir.
Right? So
Yes.
u a, the general solution you have written u naught a plus mu 1 u2 a, u1 a
Plus mu2 u2.
mu 2 u2 a. Right?
Yes,
So
sir.
general solution will be the same thing. Same one. The only thing you have to satisfy these two boundary conditions, mixed
Okay.
type of, right? So you will get two equations in mu1 and mu2 from here.
Yes, sir.
Other things are known to you.
Yes, I got it.
Because u naught a is known, u1 a is known, u2 a is known. Their derivatives are known at the point A and B both, as at the point A.
Yes, sir.
Right? So with the help of that, you have to find out that. I will explain for the other one also. Once we talk about the non-linear one, then also I will see some problem. I will see some problem in the book, and I will tell you people. Maybe I will send the mail, or I will tell you people in the next class. Okay.
Yes.
But the procedure is exactly same. Procedure is exactly same.
Yes, sir, I got it.
Okay. So next, let me explain a bit of that non-linear one. I'm not going to explain much today. Don't worry. So I will close this one. So are you able to see the slide?
Yes, sir.
As I have told in the beginning itself, that linear case is not discussed in several books. You will not find. Basically, non-linear case, this is the general one which is discussed. So if any problem is given, the non-linear problem, I have already told that 3 kinds of boundary conditions are there. So all those 3 kinds of boundary conditions are there. Let us take the general non-linear differential equation y double prime equal to fx y prime is also there, let us say. And then let us suppose the first kind of boundary condition is given. Ya equal to gamma 1, yb equal to your gamma 2. Right? These two boundary points are given. Now, we'll consider the initial value problem of the following type. Here it is a general non-linear differential equation. You cannot find out the solution of this, right? Whether it is boundary value problem or initial value problem. For a general non-linear, you cannot find out the analytical solution. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So we choose initial conditions. So while A is gamma 1, we require the derivative condition at the point A because we want initial conditions. So let us choose this y prime A equal to S. Right? S we have chosen from our side. S we have chosen from our side. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Now, if we see analytically, if we solve this system, what will happen? Whatever the solution yx we will get, that will depend on S also. It will be dependent on S also. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
So it is your yxs, let us say. Yxs will be the solution. This is what I have written here. Right? Now, since the original problem is given as yb equal to gamma 2, the boundary value problem. So if for this particular S, it satisfies this boundary condition, then it's fine.
Yes, sir.
Yes or no? If it does not satisfy, means that S, that choice of S is not the correct one.
Yes, sir.
Then we have to improve that choice of S.
Yes, sir.
Now, this meaning by what? We have to see this ybs at the point x equal to b. Ybs equal to gamma 2, which is a non-linear function, non-linear equation in S, whether this has unique solution or not. That is the meaning.
Yes, sir.
Right? Whether this has unique solution or not. Right? Or in other words, phi s, which is your ybs minus your gamma 2, whether phi s is 0 or not.
Yes, sir.
Whether it satisfies that condition means whether phi s is 0 for that particular choice of s or not. If it is not, we have to improve this S. We have to improve this S. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Now, this is a nonlinear equation phi s equal to 0 in S. Means of that kind that fx equal to 0. Right? So you can improve by using your Newton-Raphson method. You can improve the value of S by Newton-Raphson method.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, the problem with the Newton-Raphson method is that you require the derivative also. Derivative value at that point, phi prime S.
Yes, sir.
That is a difficult position. That's a difficult. Phi is not just simple, it depends on your y also. Means you require y prime bs also. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
So it is very difficult job. So another way is that we'll apply, have you read this regular falsy method, secant method?
No, sir.
No, it must have been told.
So what's the name you told?
Either regular falsy method or secant method. Yeah, false position method. There are 3 names.
No, I have not heard the names.
This is in your course, it should have been taught. This should have been taught. I don't know why it is not taught. Anyway, suppose it is not known to you, okay. Let me tell you how to improve the things. Let me come to that point directly first then. Your Newton-Raphson method is your that sk plus 1 equal to sk minus phi of sk divided by phi prime of sk, right?
Yes, sir.
Now, the secant method is you require 2 initial guesses. For secant method, you require actually there are it's a twin methods are there. First one is regular falsy method. Secant method, very thin line is there between the two. That I will explain. So you require 2 initial guesses. Let us say S0 and S1, right? And then you will get the improved value S2 using this method, and the formula for that is your S of k plus 1 equal to S of k minus sk minus 1 divided by phi of sk minus phi prime sk. You see, this is what? 1 upon f prime or not? Or 1 upon f prime type of thing.
Yes, sir.
Right? In a limiting case, once sk minus 1 goes to sk.
Yes, sir.
Do you understand that or not? So it is basically, now you can understand, into phi of sk. Right? So this is the formula. So, but you require, and you don't require now here the derivative. This is one plus point. You don't require the derivative term here.
Okay, sir.
Right? For derivative, we have to solve another differential equation. Right? For derivative, we have to solve another differential equation. So there will be 2 set of boundary value problems. And then you can understand the number of initial value problems. So that's the reason we are, even though Newton-Raphson method is faster than other methods, but still the secant method is preferred here because of that we have to calculate the derivative of the function, which is not available easily here, right? That for that we require another set of initial value problems, right? So the only thing is that we require 2 initial guesses for this, for the secant method. And now the difference between regular falsy method is that we choose S0 and S1, right? Let me explain in terms of your simple function fx equal to 0. So we choose that x0 and x1, right? Such that the function values fx0, this is what you do, and fx1, that should be into the, fx0 into fx1, or they should be of opposite sign. They should be of
Yes, sir.
opposite sign, right?
Yes, sir.
So such two points we have chosen, x0 and x1. Such
Yes.
2 points we have chosen, right? So these two are the two initial guesses. So next initial guess, suppose we get x2, right? Then in the regular falsy method, we'll see that whether the value at fx0 is opposite to the fx2, or the value at fx1 is opposite to the fx2. And then with which it is opposite, we'll choose those two values. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
But for secant method, we'll simply go with your x1 and x2. We'll not consider x0 at all. Next, once we get x3, we'll just choose x2 and x3. But the drawback for the secant method is that it may not converge. But if it converges faster than regular falsy method. Because for regular falsy method, you have to verify certain things, and that too at every stage. So that costs more, and that takes more time. So the speed is less in regular falsy method than secant method. There is a very slight difference that in the regular falsy method, we choose only those 2 points at which the function values are opposite to each other. While in secant method, without choosing such thing, whatever the next value we have got and the just previous value, will proceed with that. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So that is the minor difference between the sequence. So next value, whatever we will get, for example, we started with a S0 and S1. So next value is your S2. S2 and S1 will be taken. Then S3 will come. Then S3 and S2 will be taken, and like that. And the new improved value will come. Right? Now, so means what? We apply the secant method to improve our S. Now I'm coming back to that point where we were. So we have chosen ya equal to gamma, y prime a equal to, so we'll choose two values. One initial condition S0, and then another initial condition. So we'll solve the two initial value problems. First, y double prime equal to fxy, y prime, ya equal to gamma, y prime equal to S0. So second second initial value problem, here it is not written y prime, so you please include. So y double prime equal to fxy, y prime, and y equal to gamma and gamma 1. It should be gamma 1. Ya equal to gamma 1 and y prime a equal to S1. So we will solve these two initial value problems, and then we'll try to see whether any one of them matches with your YBS or not. Means phi S is 0, whether phi S0 is 0 or phi S1 is 0. If none of them is 0, then we'll improve the value of S using your secant method. So you have got two values S0, S1, and using that we'll get the another value S2, and then we'll solve this initial value problem with y prime a equal to S1, and that is already solved, and then y prime a equal to S2. Now then we'll check that whether phi at S2 is 0 or not. If it is not, then we'll further improve with your S1 and S2, we'll get the S3, and this way we'll continue till your phi S is 0. Is that right? And that will be the required one. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Is that right? So this is the whole process. and the numerical demonstration will be done on the next day, next in the next class, that is Thursday. Is that right? So for today it is more than enough. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So you do the problems yourself. Whatever I have done here, demonstrated here, not done here basically, it is demonstrated here. So you do that also yourself. Write down the problem, go through once, do the problem, see whether you are getting stuck at any place. If you are not, good, very good. If you are getting stuck, look at again, and then again you try to solve that and do that in this way, then it will be clear to you. Once one problem is clear, after that things will be clear to you. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Yes. So today I will just, any query is there, any question is there, you can ask me. Anybody, if any question is there. Any question is there or not? Vardhan?
No, sir.
Okay then. So do, but you have to do the problem.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so do it. So today I am just closing at this stage.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.